remember Bertha. I remember it. It's very colourful.
Do you remember this tune? Bertha, lovely Bertha, everybody thinks you're a dream.
I don't remember
You work
that.
out what you've got to do. You can always get the goods out, always get the goods
right,
out.
yeah.
We can depend upon you.
Dun.
Welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast, where we're just having a bit of a trip down memory lane. Nobody remembers
who is
Bertha.
Bertha?
I didn't know we were recording.
It was
I
made.
I remember Bertha very well.
It was made by the same company who made Charlie Chalk.
That's right.
And
Yes.
one of the major issues I have with my girlfriend of 5 years is that she hates Charlie Chalk, and I secretly think that Charlie Chalk is brilliant.
That's a
that's-
tough issue, man.
That's a bit
Time
personal,
for
isn't
bed, said Zebedee.
it? That was the magic roundabout, you twat.
But that's fine. We're just referencing them all now.
It's not fine.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not fine.
There are lines that need to be drawn.
And throwing in random magic roundabout quotes is not cool.
The magic roundabout was fucking boring.
What? Wasn't it? No, wasn't it all like drug zany and
Yeah, I know,
crazy?
but it was
I didn't really watch
boring.
it as a kid. It wasn't for me.
It was as boring as sitting in a room full of people on drugs when you're not.
Oh
on
yeah,
drugs.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. Sorry, all right? Every now and then things go wrong.
Every
you
now
don't.
and then it falls apart.
Oh, God.
Anyway,
We've done that.
we've
Yeah,
done that.
sorry.
If you
2 weeks
if you
late.
need your Bonnie Tyler fix, head to the YouTube channel. We've
Yeah,
got a Call of Duty
loads.
review and a Battlefield review, both of which are sung to different Bonnie Tyler songs. Anyway, my name's Matt Lees. Welcome to the podcast. And I'm joined by Mr. Christopher Brattoskus,
Hello, Matthew.
Simon Millerific.
Praise Bonnie.
Praise Bonnie. And David Scamalicious,
Good day.
because my David's too scamalicious for you, babe.
Oh, wonderful.
Nice.
I like that. I like
That's
singing
That
that.
is good.
Anyway, video games.
Yeah, what's
They
happening?
are here and they are back with a vengeance.
Oh my God. Miller, video game me up.
Video game you up. All right. Well, I'm going to continue my Nintendo trip. 2 weeks. 2 weeks of Nintendo love.
Oh,
You
yeah.
sound like you've just been off your tits on Nintendo.
Oh, man, I'm
2
so
weeks.
drugged up on Nintendo. It's unbelievable. On a quick note, on that thing, I was just to keep it as vague as possible. On that thing I was talking about last week, I finished it, and it's wonderful. But moving strictly on, I've also been playing
Was
Mario.
it vague last week what you were playing?
No,
No,
I'm
no.
being vague now.
He has to be
vague.
It's wonderful,
I'm
everyone.
bungo vague. It's wonderful. Question mark out of 10. I've been playing Mario Wii U this week to carry on the Nintendo love, and that is also a wonderful thing. Now, we can talk about this a little bit because there are odd preview embargoes that drop all the time. One's already dropped. I think another one drops like tomorrow or something, and then the review can come out in 2 weeks. So we can talk about it. I know we did touch on it last week, but I played a lot more now. And the thing I really want to push home and let everybody know about is that this is probably one of the most varied Mario games ever, and it's done deliberately so. I mean, the setup's always the same. You go to your world and you jump in your levels. But Nintendo are so obviously self-conscious about making sure this doesn't feel like what it appears to be on the outset.
Sure.
It's always surprising you, and it's lovely. It makes me laugh out loud.
What do you
It's so
think?
lovely.
Oh, in terms of expectations for just generally Mario games, it's trying to subvert, or just generally?
I think they know that this is not one of their genre-defining Mario games. I think they're well aware, and I think they're doing it on purpose because they know those games don't sell as well as the 2D ones and the multiplayer
Well,
ones
also
done in the past.
it'd be a criminal shame if like Mario Galaxy came out on the Wii U now and again didn't really sell any copies.
It didn't, because people forget that Mario Galaxy 2 didn't do as well as other Mario games.
No.
Even though it is a wonderful piece of
I still
a piece
need to
of
play
work.
2.
It's more of the same, but it's still absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think they know this, and I think they've tried to be really smart and said, well, how can we strike a fair balance between the two?
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is we can make sure it looks like the ones that have done well for us on a business side, but we'll also, we will...
Put cats in it.
Well, yeah, but we will drown it in innovation. We will drown it in variation. We will just put all these things in, and some you may like and some you may not, but there's never not a new thing around the corner.
Well, it's true. No, I just started thinking about that as a box quote. Drowning in innovation. It's like being waterboarded with fun.
and awfully, I used to write box quotes and stuff like that, so
No,
it's probably why I don't do it anymore.
I just like the idea of those being on a... Like of getting a Mario game, looking at the back of the box, going, "What if it's any good?" And all of the box quotes being like faintly dark and to do with drowning.
Yeah, exactly. On fire with love doesn't make sense. But yeah, I mean that's my favourite thing about it. I mean, I want to tell you more specifics, but I won't, because half the joy is finding out what these variations are when you start a level.
Although I will say that I did come in and see you playing it last night, and it seems like I was sort of on the money for the thing. What I got in loads of beef about. Loads of people had a go at me because I said it seemed like it was going to be quite easy in some regards.
Yeah, I mean it is as hard as the 3DS one, which to me was relatively straightforward overall, but with the odd hard level. Like there's, I'd say, I mean, I've done 6 worlds so far. I don't know how many worlds there are, but I've done 6 worlds, and I would say, I don't know, let's try and be really, a quarter of them have been quite tough.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I mean, I'm quite happy with it. I mean, one of them was, the best thing about it is I've got to the point now where I need a certain amount of stars to unlock particular levels. And
Sure.
because I have OCD with Mario games, I can't leave any level.
So you've got them all.
I have to get them all.
Yeah.
So I have had to go back to certain levels to make sure I get stars and stuff. And when you start doing that, that's when you realise, okay, this is where the challenge lies. This is where the hardcore platform. I found this really cool.
It's like the red coin stuff in a way.
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. I don't think I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because I'm feeling in a renegade kind of a mood.
Wow.
So maybe I'll get a phone call later, but fuck you.
Okay.
I found this one, like, there's a load of pipes sort of situated over the overworld, and you don't have to go through those pipes, but if you can unlock certain levels, it will open the pipe and you can go in it. And I went in one and I found this. It's the only thing I came across. I found this random house. I went in this house and it was one of these weird creatures they've introduced in this one that said, "Hey, why don't you jump in the pipe?" I was like, "Yeah, baby." So I jumped in the pipe, and what it was 10 really small levels. I mean, literally, you could probably do each one in. I think it's a countdown. It's a 10-second countdown. So you do 10 seconds, and it progressively got harder and harder and harder and harder. And when I got to the 9th and the 10th one, honestly, it was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that when Nintendo actually put their minds to it,
They can make devilish stuff.
and within 10 seconds, if you want to get everything that's in that world, because I always see people forget that in Mario games, the coins serve a very specific purpose other than if you get 100, you get an extra life. If you want to be OCD with it and get all the coins, that's when you see, I see how they've kind of, made the platforming a lot harder. And so because I have this OCD with it, with these 10 levels, I have to get everything in them. I have to kill every enemy, I have to get every coin, I have to get the star. And it was really difficult. But it wasn't sort of annoyingly difficult. It was Mario difficult. And
Sure.
that's been the highlight for me so far. I really got excited.
Maybe
about
I'm
it.
misjudging it. I mean, to me, it seems like actually it's not a case of them being like super easy. It's just I came in and I noticed you had about 48 lives, which just feels like but maybe it seems like maybe. Because the thing about lives are, right, and we talked about something else recently, but the thing about lives is they're a throwback to the arcade, right?
Yeah, well, exactly, to get you to put in another pound.
Yeah, well, it was like where your success or failure had to be hinged to lives, because that was like you ran out of lives. It was a fail condition, running out of lives. Whereas now it's kind of not relevant because it doesn't need you to put another point in. Pound it. And that's why I love the Lego games, is because they kind of openly acknowledge that death is not a fun motivator.
Death is not the end.
It's not a good way of motivating.
Yeah, I totally
But then with
agree.
other stuff, it is. Like with Dark Souls, that's the whole point is don't die. And that's what makes it tense.
I do have to point out the reason I had that many lives, and I'm not the smartest person on the planet, so I'm sure lots of people are going to do this, is I found out a way how to break the what's that game? What's the game? Slots. Slots machines pop up, as in the end of Mario 2. If you played Mario 2, there's a slot
You worked
machine.
out a way to game the
And I
system.
found out a way. There's a song in the background, and it's got a drum beat to it. And if you do it a count of 4, and you smack each slot on the count of 1, you always get about 20 lives at the end of it.
Wow.
So I got about a lot of lives.
Well, that's why you had so
You're
many.
definitely getting a phone call later on. Cheating
no,
the
it's
cheats
their
out.
game.
The system.
Maybe surely that was something they put in there.
They
It's
must have
just-
done, they
but
must have done.
that's why. But even without that, I think I'd have a lot of lives. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not massively.
But it's funny because it's almost like it seems that the difficulty now is not related to lives,
It's in
and it
collecting.
almost seems like with Mario, the only reason they've kept the lives is because collect 100 coins, get a 1-up.
Yeah, which is a nice
so
kind of
ingrained
feeling.
as a
Yeah.
feature in
Yeah, I
Mario
think
that
you're
they can
probably
never remove it.
Yeah, I think you're right. But
This is weird.
I think it's not as hard as Mario games have been in the past, but I think it's hard enough that if you're kind of my ilk as a gamer, you still enjoy it. Whereas if you're casual Joe and you just want to sort of go down there on a Sunday morning and do a couple of hours, it won't kick your ass either. So it's that whole. But the best thing about it is it makes me laugh out loud, just because some of the things it does, like. I mean, this is not a big thing. I'll talk about this. It's just such a tiny thing. It didn't have to do this. There's a particular beach that you go on one of the levels where it's full of Koopa Troopers. And obviously, if you jump on the Koopa Trooper, they come out of their shell. And because I didn't really do it on purpose. I thought it'd be funny. I kicked his shell. There's a beach, so I kicked his shell out across the ocean. The Koopa Trooper ran after it, and when he realised he couldn't get his shell back, he just dropped his head and sighed. And I just like, that's just lovely. And it's full of stuff like that, where you just think half the people won't even notice that happened.
Yeah, little subtle things.
It's just, and then there's so many of them, and it's just.
That sounds lovely, actually. I
It's
look forward to having
a
gone.
great game. I mean, Nintendo for me are going to own Christmas.
On the
But
topic of Nintendo, though, because obviously, we had homework, but it's fine because you've been busy with other stuff, so you haven't had a chance to do your
Are you letting
Pokemon.
Simon
poor.
off his homework?
Look,
Wow.
You are
I'm
the
gonna
worst
make
teacher
a guarantee right now. I mean, Matt is referring to the fact that I would say I would play Pokemon, which I've never done in my life. It has been downloaded to my 3DS. It is waiting for me. I promise to put in at least a few hours this weekend. So in a week's time, I'll be able to talk about it.
The thing is,
promises.
Brad, because Simon is my boss, I'm not really in a position to berate him. However, because I am slightly more senior than you are, I am
gonna
in a
get
position
berated.
to berate you for things.
I
But
did
luckily,
my
you've done your
homework.
homework.
Yeah,
So you
Oh, yeah.
don't
Good
have to
point.
stay behind after class. And neither does Miller because he's my boss. But no, yeah, this is fantastic, right? Basically, those of you who listened to the podcast last week will know that I
will probably be ashamed to find out.
at one point, I just flippantly said I was going to go out and I was going to buy a 3DS XL that day.
You did it. I was amazed.
And I did it.
Yeah, it's great.
And I said I was going to buy it and I was going to give you my 3DS so you could play Zelda. And that seems like, I don't know, it was a flight of fancy and I decided to run with it. But I've done it.
That was cool.
I've got a 3DS XL. First of all, 3DS XL is amazing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get one now.
It's such a gorgeous
Yeah, I think I'm gonna
This
get
is
one.
actually, I will get onto it in a moment, but I've enjoyed Zelda a lot. The 3DS, I'm not sure I like I like using it that much. It's quite uncomfortable to use the shoulder
It
button,
can be a
particularly in
little
games
bit.
where you have to hold them
gives me
down to
cramp,
block
yeah.
and everything. And it comes back to that idea we were talking about last week of it having so many good games, but I'm still not blown away by the 3DS.
The XL is a much better bit of
Really?
gear. And I was skeptical about it when I saw the specs and saw it. But then when I actually hold one, it's like the resolution's the same. It's
Yeah.
just blown up a bit. But the screen's like twice as big. And actually with Pokemon, which I'm playing mostly, it has a lot of like touchscreen stuff on the bottom. And being able to play it in bed now with my big fat adult fingers and being able
No,
to
I
like
agree.
use the touchscreen.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it works with a lot of games, but some of the touchscreen menus on the normal 3DS are so small, you have to use the stylus.
Yeah.
And I can't be bothered with that a lot of the time. I just want to...
No, I don't. I use my big fat finger. Yeah, that's what I do.
It was my big fat fingers all over you. Oh, yeah, baby. Sorry, that went weird. But basically, long story short is that I spent loads of money just for the sake of being able to give Brad Zelda.
Oh, it's worth it.
And it's been worth it because the things he's been coming in, and I'm just going to start off with this and then you can roll with it. But you came in the other day and you said, I left the village where you start and I went over to Hyrule Castle and I ran all the way across this field and I was just about to go through the gate into the castle and then the gates started coming up because it was night and I had to wait until the morning.
Imagine you
and
didn't
it was
know
just
that.
like,
Incredible.
I remember having that exact moment in my mind of going, what? Why is it
15
raising?
years ago, yeah.
But that was like, 10, 15 years
Yeah,
ago. And
amazing.
it was an incredible moment of not knowing what was going on and going, what?
I know.
What? So anyway, I just want you to tell us about your experiences with Ocarina of Time.
No, it's been very, very fun. It's weird playing it so long after everyone else because I'm just very surprised that it is the game that everyone knows. It's such a mainstream game, and yet it's really, really weird. Like it's just like
You are playing it weirdly, though.
everything. None of the story is what I'd expect from what my image
Well, the
of
thing
Zelda.
is, it's
I
not
get
a mainstream game. That's the thing. Ocarina of Time is a classic, and at the time it was one of the most popular games. But this was at a point at which games weren't mainstream.
Yeah, that's
and the
very
most
much so.
popular
That's a good point,
games
actually, yeah.
were all quite hardcore.
But still, Ocarina of Time. My mum and dad will know what Ocarina of Time is. They may not have played it.
Will they?
Really?
Yeah, they. Oh, definitely.
My parents don't have a bloody clue what
Man, your
Zelda
parents
was.
are
let alone-
badass.
Your parents wouldn't know what Zelda was.
No, my parents barely know what Mario is.
They know what a
That's not
Nintendo
true.
is.
That's not true.
What is
Come
a
on.
Mario?
I think it could be.
My parents only know what Ocarina of Time is because I specifically told my dad
Yeah,
repeatedly that I wanted the gold cartridge version.
Exactly, I
Which
think
they
that's-
then didn't release. I don't
But
think.
yeah, so
Unbelievable.
the story's the bit that just blows me away at the moment. So I started off in this village full of like children with like funny
You're
ears.
killing so many people right now.
who are told by like this tree with a pretty cool mustache that they're not allowed to go outside.
Deku tree.
They're not allowed to go outside of the village because it's dangerous. It turns out when you do go outside the village, it's not. I mean, there are things out there that they're going to kill you. Zombies
You're a
being a big
hero.
one.
Link is able to do it. They wouldn't.
I'm
Milo would
concerned
die.
about the tree in the first place. How long has it kept them there? These children in a village because it said it's
Years.
unsafe out.
Well, the thing is, and
start
I'm not
freaking
going to
out a
say
little
anything
bit.
because I don't want to spoil it, but the reason that they stay in the forest becomes clear
Yeah.
later in the game.
Yeah.
And there's actually some really touching stuff that you come back to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because a lot of things you talk about and you're saying, I don't get this. You spent a lot of time, you said you spent a lot of time with Dampe, the graveyard dude.
That guy's robbed me of about at least 70 rupees.
But you're not supposed to be doing it.
He never told me that. He was never like, listen, young elf child, I
not an elf.
don't want to take all your money because that would be irresponsible of me as a gravekeeper and an adult. But instead, no, he's like, oh yeah, give me 10 rupees and I'll dig a hole and we may find something interesting. Absolute nonsense.
But the thing
he hasn't
is,
given me anything.
This is the thing, right? Is that why people are so fond of Zelda games and why they stopped working after a while, because they started following the same routines and they became more about comfort and more about like comfort food than sensation of genuine discovery.
It is that weirdness. It's that fact that
it doesn't hold your hand.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're doing.
And you know what? That
as soon as you're in Hyrule Field, it tells you where you should go, but you don't have to go there.
Because I play a hell of a lot of games that do follow that same format, that safe kind of, not necessarily safe, but it gives you a good sense of direction.
It gives you hints that you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, it's very nice to play something that doesn't do that and just doesn't really care whether or not you're going in the right direction. It's just go and have a look around. And it's very, very fun to do that.
And also, like, you're losing loads of money to Dampe, but there'll come a point later on where you'll realise something. Something will click.
Dampe...
And you'll realise what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome about it. And it's the same way, actually. You know, when we were playing, because we were doing the Pants Man stream last night, and we got to a bit in Demon's Souls, which I've not played much of, and we got to a bit where there's this guy in a cage who's like, please let me out.
Right.
And you're like, I'm your friend, you know, let me out.
He said it in the most suspicious voice.
And he says it in a really dark, evil
Yeah.
voice.
That was my dark.
And I was like, I don't want to let this guy out. I don't trust him. And I was right not to trust him, because everyone on the stream was like, yeah, no, don't let him out. Don't let him out. And I did
bad
anyway,
things.
because I want to see the bad
Of course,
things he
yeah,
does.
you want to see what's going to happen, yeah.
But the thing is, he looks the same. He's got a very similar appearance to one of the characters from Dark Souls, who's called, what's he called? Starts with a C. I don't remember. Anyway, that guy's like gold. He's got gold armor, similar style of armor to this guy, but gold instead of black.
Right.
And it's clearly a reference in Dark Souls to the guy from Demon's Souls. But it's the same thing. And what's lovely about Dark Souls, and spoiler if you haven't played it, but if you haven't played it, for God's sake, just play Dark Souls. It's the best game ever made. Is you find this guy in a jail cell and you let him out. And he goes, oh, thank you so much. Like, you know, I'll remember this. And he gives you a reward for it.
Oh, nice.
And you're like, wicked. Brilliant. Job done. And then later in the game, you realise that he's a bastard. And he's basically murdered some people.
Oh, good. That's nice.
And you have to go and like, kind of hunt him down and find him. But it's that thing of the fact that it's like you get screwed over by the game about something that you could not have known about.
Yeah, exactly.
And it didn't hint to you even really that it would happen before it happened.
Yeah.
But then it makes it all the more satisfying when you finally click.
It adds to it the fact that you now know that you didn't have to do that. I definitely, and there's so much of that in Zelda, and I am enjoying it a lot. I know I'm being a bit of a dick about the story, which is ridiculous.
No, I just love
But
the
you
fact
don't even really know the story at the moment,
Okay,
because
well-
you haven't even still got to the second dungeon.
I'll tell you what.
Have you got to the Dongo's Cavern yet?
I'm just going in there. I need
finally,
to find,
20 hours
easy.
later.
I was having a bit of a look round because to even get in there in the first place, you need to play a forest song to the big troll. So he's
He's not a troll, he's a Goron.
This is just terrible words coming out of your mouth.
Do you know? You
It's an
knew
established
exactly what I meant.
franchise,
The
man.
Goron are a proud people.
They are lazy. They are
What?
the laziest.
not.
Actually, they are a bit lazy.
Right, you go into their home and they're
terrible.
all sitting down because
They're tired.
they eat rocks, right?
Yeah, it
But
weighs
they
them
don't want to eat
down.
normal rocks because their taste has been so elevated. They only want to eat
Much
rocks
like
from this cavern
the
down the
human
road,
race.
which is blocked by a giant rock that they could probably eat in the first place.
Yeah, but you got to throw a bomb over there, don't you? Blow it up.
Where'd you get that bomb from, by the way?
I thought you said you were in there. I thought you were in the Dongo's
No,
Cavern.
I've just got the bracelet, which means I can pick bomb flowers up.
You got to climb to the top of Death Mountain,
up.
and then there's
Bird's
a
eye
bomb
view, my
which
friend.
you throw off the cliff. And
Yeah.
Okay,
See, this is what I mean. Is we were talking about this in the office the other day, right? And I started looking up Majora's Mask because we got sent weird masks by Duckman,
Yeah.
who made them.
Thank you, Duckman.
They are fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
but I
they're
love
terrifying.
them. And yeah, basically, I started thinking about Majora's Mask, and I started watching the intro to Majora's Mask, and it made me like so excited, like a child again.
Yeah.
Because in some ways, the start of Majora's Mask was more exciting than playing Ocarina of Time, because it was the sequel to Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
in some
exactly.
way.
Yeah, it was
And
the expectation, and it was mad as well. Like,
it was mad as
completely
a
out of
box
left
of
field.
figs. Yeah, it was just insane. I mean, you think that like Ocarina of Time is weird?
Oh, yeah.
It is extremely weird.
No, you played Majora's Ocarina of Time. In hindsight, is obviously follows a formula we now accepted as sort of the formula.
Right.
Majora's Mask still has no comparison. I can't
It's
think of a
mental.
comparison. Like, it's completely off the wall.
I mean, like, it goes in directions. I mean, it's almost like if you enjoy Ocarina, which you should do, then when you play Majora's
You
Mask...
may not even like it.
What?
Potentially. I don't know.
Majora's Mask is just...
Oh, no, I
amazing.
love it. But I mean, what I mean is, just
it's
because
so
you like
different.
Ocarina, you may not like Majora's. It's got a time limit. You have to restart the game about
Majora's
15
Mask.
It's got a
times.
time
Yeah,
limit.
Constant time
The
limit.
plot
Oh my
of Majora's
God.
Mask, the
This
plot of
sounds
Majora's
incredible.
Mask is that the moon, who is a fucking terrifying bastard,
Genuinely terrifying.
it's a moon with a face with big glowing red eyes, is crashing towards the Earth.
You got to
And
stop
basically,
it.
you've got 3 days, and after 3 days, the moon crashes into the Earth, right?
and you restart.
But
Do you get any? What this?
What happens is you've got a constant timer going down of the amount of time you've got before the end of the world, but then you learn a song during the first 3 days that lets you restart the clock.
Okay. Yeah.
Takes you back to that moment.
It keeps all the stuff that you've learned and what you've got.
So what you have to do
okay.
is you have to basically go through right till the end. And if you don't play the song before the moon hits the earth, then you die and it's game over. And you have to
So you
reload
need
the
to get
save.
as much stuff as possible.
You do as much stuff as you can within 3 days, but then you rewind time. Basically, it's Groundhog Day, the game.
Yeah.
Because every day you learn what people do and you learn people's patterns, and it's like... but there's something really melancholic about the whole game, because it's like these people don't know that the world is going to end.
Yeah, no one believes you.
do.
Yeah, no one believes you.
Does your character like? Actually,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't really-
You're trying to
You
spread
don't,
the word.
you don't talk,
Yeah.
but like, you know, the idea is like, you never see Link say anything, but the idea is that he's trying to occasionally tell people and they go, what? Oh, don't be silly.
Yeah.
But then you have this sadness on the last day when you see everyone going a bit mad and everyone's running around and everyone's hiding and everyone's suddenly fearful for the end of the world. But then you go back to the first day and they're all having fun again.
Yeah.
And it's
it's a brilliant game.
That sounds cool.
it's an incredible premise, and the amount of detail they put into it and the amount of ideas they threw into it. It was almost like we talk about with Japanese games where they almost get on the verge of being ropey because they throw so many ideas into
I
it.
totally agree.
There are elements of Majora's Mask that are a little bit rougher than Ocarina of Time, because it just tries to do so much shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's so experimental.
And that's the thing, after you've finished Ocarina, and I'm sure they'll release it on 3DS.
They better release it on 3DS, damn it.
It can't be that hard to bloody
Exactly.
port it
Just
across.
port it across. Do it now.
It's just an amazing treat, because it's like it's such like fan service for if you've played Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, but-
because you haven't
but
even
it's
met like all the races. You haven't met the Zoras, right?
No, I've got.
He's a disgrace.
I got a couple of last Zelda questions. There's a couple of last stupid Zelda questions to get out of the way before we can move on. First of all, how do you know Link's name is Link? Because
It's established at some
It
point
might
in the
get-
franchise.
but where? Because in my game it's just Bratters.
Well, you can call it whatever you want,
And
but it starts off as Link, doesn't it?
I
When it
don't
loads
think
up.
it has Link in the.
I think it does.
It does, yeah. Before
If you don't
on
for every
the
Zelda
nice.
game, it says Link, and you can just delete it.
I wish
for
I'd
your
kept
own
with
name.
Link now, because Bratters just feels a bit out of
No,
place.
I'm always
It's fine.
Simon.
I was Matt in
No,
mine.
I'm always Simon in
I've
block
got your
caps.
saves above mine actually.
Yeah.
I don't want to delete. I'm worried about
No, don't delete it.
pressing the wrong thing.
That's
But,
fine, yeah.
And other question. I've got a feeling, right? I don't know. This might sound a bit crazy, but I've got a feeling something's going to happen in the Ocarina of Time. It's not the Ocarina of Time, in which Zelda grows up. Zelda, Link, all of them, they grow up. I feel like some time's going to pass because I'm getting some hints.
You.
So
I'm not
far.
going to even say anything.
Well, you know,
I'm getting-
Ocarina of Time-
know that?
this has been 15 years, Brad.
Getting a few, getting a few suggestions.
thinking, oh shit, like
Few
Arnie is a
suggestions that-
Terminator. It's like that sort of thing, isn't it?
It's amazing though, and I don't want to spoil it.
No,
for
we
him.
can't spoil it for him.
Because-
Just all I'll say is this.
I met a big troll who said
It's on the
"Come
back of the box.
come back." I haven't got the box.
Drowning in time. You are in for a treat.
Yeah, no,
that's
this
all I
is
need
it.
to know. You're in for a treat. Keep playing forward. Please speed up.
Yeah.
How quickly you're playing. Stop exploring bollocks. Because
Stop exploring
when you
it.
get to the moment, as I'll call it,
Yeah,
can't
no.
spoil it.
It's
It's
incredible.
Still wonderful to this day. It really is.
Yeah, it's incredible.
10 out of
And this
10.
is the thing: is like, you know, if you're on YouTube listening to this or whatever on the comments, please don't spoil it for him, because it's amazing.
Yeah, don't
This is like
actually.
when you have like those indigenous people living in South America that still have never seen aeroplanes.
It's true though.
And
It's
don't
true.
know what the world
And
is.
also, there'll be these people out there. I'm going to say these things. Don't spoil it. There's someone out there who's never played KOTOR, and one day they'll stumble across KOTOR
Yeah.
and they'll get that twist, and it will still blow their mind. Because it's timeless.
Because
And that's
it's like
amazing.
the thing in Ocarina of Time that happens. It's like, it's not, because I kind of knew something like, you're already like, it's giving hints that something's going to happen that's going to make you bigger or older or something.
If you followed that game up to launch, you knew all that.
We knew that.
Everybody was,
we knew
yeah,
that. But
yeah.
still, you know, the way that the plot unfolds is so interesting.
Yeah.
And it was still so shocking to me.
Oh,
the first
yeah.
time it happened, it
tricks
scared
you.
me.
Yeah,
And it's just, it's weird and it's crazy and it takes you off on different directions. And the game makes more sense as you go along. I just love simple shit like you just weren't familiar with Zelda at all. And you were like, oh God, like when you collect these Deku sticks at the start.
Oh,
Like,
he loves the Deku sticks.
you got to, they run out really quickly, don't you? You've actually got to be careful with them because you thought it was like an RPG where you just like,
It makes
You've got the
no
Deku stick,
RPG other than the Demon Souls and Dark Souls to an extent would be that mean to you. That would
Yeah, they
like
just
your
give
very
you- yeah.
first
No,
dungeon
it's a
where you
resource.
need the sticks
Yeah,
to
it's
get
a
through.
resource.
There's a chance you might run out and have to go back to the shop or go find an enemy that drops them.
well, it's simple stuff. Like, have you noticed the way with those little Deku plants that attack you? If you kill them when they're straight up in the air after they've been stunned,
What?
Then if you kill them when you stun them and they go straight like
Yeah.
a stick, if you kill them when they're like that, they drop sticks. If you kill them when they're down, they drop seeds.
Oh, that makes sense.
I want to point out as well, and this can be very vague and people go, that's pointless, in A Link Between Worlds, it toys with the enemies that you're used to more than any other Zelda game ever, which is one of the fantastic things about it. Just want to put that
It's a
out
Zelda
there.
game for Zelda players.
It's got plants.
Zelda game
in
for
it.
everyone. Yep, plants.
Oh,
Keep playing Ocarina of Time.
finally though, the music
So good. Oh, and just playing it on the ocarina is so delightful. I've just got that. I've just got that.
And you haven't even heard half. You haven't heard Bolero of Fire. You haven't heard
I've only
Gerudo's
got-
Valley.
I've only got Zelda's
What's called Gerudo's
Lullaby.
Valley? What's the Gerudo's Valley?
My
theme
favourite
called?
is the Song of Storms.
That's good. What's the Gerudo Valley one called? This is terrible.
Oh,
This makes me a bad person. I listen to it at home sometimes.
the Gerudo rap.
That's it. That's right.
Yo, we're late.
It goes.
thieves.
What's it called? I don't remember. It's the
know what you
Gerudo
mean.
Valley
What do you make
theme
the noise?
music.
Chugga 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 on an
Drums.
ocarina.
No, you don't play it. It's just when you get to. You have so much game to go. I'm just thinking about it now.
shit, yeah.
So much game.
I keep thinking about like things, and I'm just like,
I know.
wow,
Amazing.
Like,
Absolutely amazing.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in for a massive treat.
No one can ever claim that we don't talk about Nintendo now. We just talked about a game from 1998 for at least 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
and actually, we have said this, but we are going to do it, right? Because me and Miller, and hopefully soon Bratters and Dave, we're all quite big into Zelda games, right?
Yeah.
We all, especially the history of them. So before,
I'm up for that podcast,
yeah,
yeah,
we will do in the lead up to the release of the 3DS Zelda, which is looking like it's a bit of a corker. We will do a kind of Zelda special thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I want to be on this just to be.
You can be like a moderator.
blown away. Yeah.
We'll do like a Zelda special sort of thing, maybe like, do a couple of podcasts in the week, like to make kind of all the Zelda games. Although I really want to play Skyward Sword, so I might need to get on that. But yeah, we will do that.
It's very good.
Anyway, moving on. Dave, there's a bigger,
Yeah, we're going back into AAA. Well, Zelda's AAA, but you know what I mean.
let's go back. Let's play the Ocarina. Do 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 do.
Did you? That was the Game of Thrones
Do 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 do.
Zelda would do
God,
that.
what's the Song of Time? We need to play the Song of Time so we can go back to the modern day.
There's a Song of Time.
Do, 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 do.
That's it, yeah.
Do, 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 do. It's well
Lovely.
fucking similar to Game of Thrones.
It is
mate.
actually that start.
That's how
unbelievable.
Zelda inspires everything.
Right, so now we've travelled forwards in time to the year 2013.
Good, yeah. So weird.
I'm having so much fun with this.
Yeah.
We should integrate Ocarina tunes into the podcast
We should
more
do,
often.
yeah.
What's come out this week?
It's Call of Duty time.
Yeah.
And no
Yeah.
one gives a shit.
Well, no,
You give a shit.
Well,
thing
I
is,
did.
everybody gives a shit. Everybody gives
Yeah,
a shit.
I'd like to point out, I want
Apart
to
from
hear, but everyone I know that is not in this weird little circle of video games is excited Call of Duty. They're playing Call of Duty. They're texting me about Call of Duty saying how good it is. Yes, they're doing
Right,
it. It's
so-
happening.
So every year, Call of Duty will come out. I'll go on my Xbox friends list on the whatever day it will be, and everyone will be playing Call of Duty. I went
Not
on it
this year?
went on it last night. There were 2 people playing Call of Duty.
But you were playing it.
I was playing it, and I was thoroughly disappointed.
But you played the single player, correct?
I've played about an hour and a half, 2 hours of single player.
Right.
And I played about half an hour, 45 minutes of multiplayer.
Okay,
Something like that.
I've got a feeling that's enough to sum it up.
Well, so Call of Duty's always been hard, right? First time you jump into a game online, it's like what we did the other day. It's just people know Call of Duty now, and they know, and it's just a case of learning the maps all over again. Really, I played 3 games yesterday online, and I died. I'm not even exaggerating. 50 times, split across 3 games.
Nice.
One game, my KD was 822, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, just snap the disc.
What a noob.
You can't go back after that.
But no, I mean, I haven't played enough of the multiplayer really to determine whether I like it or not, because I didn't like Black Ops 2 when I first started playing the multiplayer, and I loved it after a day or 2.
What's the big difference with the
I like
with the
Black Ops 2
multiplayer?
immediately.
So they're
The
going
big difference with the multiplayer, I know the UAVs are, you put them on the ground now.
I still haven't worked it out. They've changed the loadout system again.
I'd like-
It's
Yeah.
weird. Like I kind of felt like with me, one of the reasons I really liked Black Ops 2 was they had these illusions of wanting to make it a different game, like especially because they wanted it to be a kind of broadcastable esport thing.
Yeah, they're big on that.
So they kind of looked at the way the game worked and they tried to add narrative to it. And one of the main things they added, I noticed, was these shock charges, these like double things you could throw. And with the aim of really changing the game, adding a bit more narrative, adding a bit more of a tactical, like making it more of a medium-term game. Because before that, Call of Duty has always been short-term. It's always been like, look at the man, bang. Like it's just it's reactions, it's raw nerve shit. Whereas
Twitch.
Black Ops 2 felt different. It felt like they redesigned the game for a different purpose. Whereas it feels weird, and this has always been the weird thing about the 2 teams working on it, is it feels like there's no overarching agenda. It always feels.
I totally agree with that. That's why I only like some of them.
Scattershot.
And they keep removing each other's features as well. Right?
Yeah,
Of course they do. There's arrogance.
It's like there's no real direction. It feels like they're pulling and pushing.
And the thing for me is I've always particularly enjoyed Infinity Ward's games. And I know recently people have been saying Treyarch are the better developer, but I've always disagreed. I've always really liked Modern Warfare series. Call of Duty 2 I thought was great. But it doesn't have any of that Infinity Ward spark, really.
No.
It feels...
It's because Infinity Ward don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
well,
they're
that's the thing. I mean, obviously...
Respawn.
Well,
More
yeah.
than that. I mean, as Dave mentioned this morning, what are Neversoft doing?
So Neversoft have been...
Secretly dead and not announced.
Well, no, because Neversoft have been working on FPS stuff.
Neversoft have been doing a
Call of Duty
shooter.
then.
They've been doing a shooter for years, and they're working heavily on Ghosts with Infinity Ward. And I wonder whether Neversoft have actually made the majority of this campaign.
Or that's why it feels a bit different.
Yeah, it's just, it tries too hard to go for this kind of emotional human story, and it's like, that's not what I like about Infinity Ward games. I always like that over-the-top military stuff that is super authentic when it's not authentic in the slightest.
Actually, you know what? If they had Neversoft working on the campaign, that may well have been why... Because there was a weird reaction. I made a video about this right when they first announced it. When Activision literally just came out and went, it's not going to sell as well as usual.
It feels like a
And
spin-off.
it's like, what? You haven't even, we haven't even seen it yet.
Does it feel like a spin-off, or does it feel like the third entry they need? So now we can have
Another
3-year
sub-series.
cycles where we get Black Ops,
No.
Modern Warfare, and Ghosts.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Apparently,
Oh,
I haven't
geez.
seen the ending
Just
yet.
let me
Apparently,
know.
they set the ending up directly for a sequel. So
So there will be Ghost 2.
I imagine there will be a Ghost trilogy or something like that. But this one, it just doesn't feel like there's been any effort, anything really gone into it. It does feel like they've phoned it in. I said this earlier today, but Battlefield 4's campaign, the first time I played it, I thought it was a little bit weak. I mean, you look at it, you compare it to Call of Duty Ghosts campaign, it's like DICE have made a better Call of Duty clone than Infinity Ward have with
It's ridiculous.
Ghosts, which is
pretty crazy.
unbelievable. I don't know. I mean, I can't really judge it because I haven't played enough of it.
It's really
but
difficult, you know. And actually, I think there's a dual thing going on with all of this stuff. Is that there is an element of Call of Duty being a series that games media love to hate because
Because it was successful. That always happens.
That's the thing.
Absolutely, it always
Yeah.
happens when anything's popular. I'm like that with bands. That's why I ripped the shit out of Bratis for liking Snow Patrol.
No, that's deserved. Keep doing it.
But there's that. But then there's also the fact that it's like the problem is that we have to review these games, and people. Somebody pointed out in our YouTube video of me playing Call of Duty yesterday. Somebody said, "How is it that these people work in games and yet they're rubbish at games?" And it's like, well.
We don't have time to play.
I think what they don't-
Don't have time to play as much.
Well, and that don't forget. I think the people at home often forget, and I'm victim to this as well. When you're trying to talk about something, and have a conversation while playing a game like Call of
it's
Duty,
hard, yeah.
incredibly difficult to
Yeah, you
do
need
both
to
at once.
focus on it. But also, it's not just that. It's the fact that we don't have time to invest. Like, if I was going home every night and just playing Call of Duty, mostly for most of the year,
You'd be
and then
really
playing
good
new
at
one,
it.
I'd be amazing at
Yeah.
it. But I also wouldn't be any good at my job because we need to play a variety of things to be able to talk about them. So that's just the way it is. But I think with Call of Duty, it's become so niche now, but a big niche, that you need to be kind of an expert at it. And there are very few people in the industry who are good enough at it to
Yeah.
really understand the depth of the game.
It's weird because it is like, it's a sport in a sense that the more you play it, the better you get. Because I remember I used to really like Call of Duty to the point I took a few days off work for Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
And I remember I really got into the multiplayer, and by like the second day, I was awesome. You know, because I literally just hammered it. And then I took some time off, thought I can't play this anymore, and I was rubbish again.
Yeah.
So that is a testament to how good those mechanics are, that you can actually learn them and understand.
I
how
got
they work.
really good at the first
Yeah.
Modern Warfare.
I'm quite good at first person shooters. I'm quite good at Call of Duty.
I've always
and
been pretty
yesterday
rubbish.
I was just struggling so much. And I don't know why that was. I think it's easier to die in this game. I think they've reduced the hit count.
Well,
which
this is
one thing.
This is
but-
the other thing. Is I was talking about this on Twitter the other day, and I was sort of saying, you know what, this feels really hard to approach. And it was like we were saying the other day. It's like it feels like Call of Duty. I've never been a hater of it, really. I used to work for a company that PR'd it, for God's sake. But
I don't hate it.
But it's like every year I dip into it. But every year I dip into it for less and less time.
Yeah, no,
and it's
totally,
because of that. It's because of the fact that I play it online and I'm so outclassed that it's not much fun.
And that's the
Yeah.
thing, you think back to Call of Duty 4, and the thing about Call of Duty 4 made it so popular was it was so easy to jump into. I mean, sure, you had people who were better
Yeah.
players than others, but everyone could play it. Everyone understood how it worked, and it was accessible.
You know, it
and
feels to me like it's become the thing it overthrew.
Yeah,
because
entirely.
At the time, because I've been thinking about this a lot yesterday, because my experience with it was rather strange. It was the first year where I really got nothing out of it. I didn't enjoy it. And I think it's because when Modern Warfare first came out, it was overthrowing the Halo system, which before that was the Unreal Tournament system, and all these games before, where the way it worked was to be good at it, you had to know the map. and the maps were quite complicated, and you had to know where the weapons spawned and where the health was and where the shields were. You had to have knowledge.
Do you remember those games, Run for the Weapons? I'm going for the rocket launcher.
And that's what Halo was. Like, it was just like, who's going to get to the rocket launcher and the sword?
Yeah,
and then if you were good enough, you keep the rocket launcher and the sword, or the sniper and the sword, and you win.
And their communities were so heavily focused on that idea. They've been playing those kind of games for years. And Modern Warfare did feel like a new start.
Well, no, it was different. What it did was it went, because I mean, the problem with Halo was I was always rubbish at it because I didn't know the maps, I didn't know the location of the weapons. So I was running around with the assault rifle and getting dicked on. But then Modern Warfare, it meant, okay, you choose what weapon you want. So you choose a weapon you were good with, and then you just use that weapon, and you choose your own loadout.
Yeah, you don't pick up weapons
and
in Call of Duty at all, do you?
People forget that the maps in the original Modern Warfare were very simple.
Was that the one with the ship? It was late at night, it was raining, and it had lots of crates. That's my favourite
Yes,
model.
I think it
That's
was.
my
Yeah, it
favourite
was.
Call of Duty map. It was so good.
Yeah, because my disc, this is one of the few games that's ever done this, I had so much play on that game that my disc got scratched a little bit from overuse.
Didn't play that map?
It wouldn't play that map.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
What the Christ?
I think it must have been in a
Wow, that's
position on the
amazing. There you
disc.
go.
Yeah.
It was positioned on the disc where it easily got scratched. But I remember when I was playing matchmaking, because it was such a popular
Yeah,
map.
to vote for the maps
yeah. It was like, whenever it came up for the voting
This
thing,
is like finding out you're related or something.
I go, not that map, not that map. And then
please,
everyone
guys.
would vote for that map. And I would be on the voice comms going, please, guys, please, can we not choose that map? Because I knew that if that map got chosen, my game would crash. It was like,
incredible.
oh,
That was the best map.
You could never
I
ask
know.
people not to vote for it, though.
I know.
It would immediately cause everyone to vote
But
for
all the
it.
maps were small, and I know this because back when I used to work in an office, we used to play it. We used to play 4-player Call of Duty split screen, and this was years after it came out. But then when Modern Warfare 2 came out, it was like it didn't work because the maps were too big, and the maps on Modern Warfare 1 were all tight enough that you could play 2v2 multiplayer, and you would actually have a
I
good
think
time.
I did that for a bit as well.
It's a really good split screen game. It still is because it's simple. The rules are easy to explain. There's no fluff. The kill streaks were also quite basic. It was a tight game. But then the problem was it leveled it out, and it meant that, fuck you with you knew and know where the good guns are. But then what's happened now is over the years, it's become less about knowing the maps. It's become more about, you do have to know the maps because they're more complex. You have to understand where people are likely to be. Sniping, it's all very brown. It's like you have to know which windows are real windows and not fake ones. You have to know which places are dangerous spots.
Yeah.
And also,
I think
it's
that's
muscle
always
memory.
been there, though, hasn't it? But
Well, no, but honestly, you go back and remember that. I mean, I think the best map on Modern Warfare was that one with the hill and the buildings on either side.
I don't remember that one.
Building.
It was like a kind of Z shape with a hill going down, a gradual hill, and then two little bits off jutting
Wow, I
either
don't remember
side.
that one at all.
And
Terrible.
you'd have a sniper spot at the bottom in the top windows and at the top and the top windows.
Yes, I do remember the sort of city, but
Yes, it was like a kind of Middle Eastern city.
yes, yeah, I do.
And
remember
it was
that.
it was great because it was so simple. You only had to play that map about once before you knew that the snipers were always in that building
Yeah.
or that building. There were two sniper spots.
Yep.
And they were the only real spots that you would find snipers in. And because of that, it then meant that the learning curve was a lot smoother. Whereas now the levels are more complex.
Well, it is a victim of its own success because, I mean, it perfected it. It perfected, in Modern Warfare, perfected what it wanted to do at that time. It was brilliant. That's why it kicked off. Internet integrity was strong enough to support it. And then every year it comes out and you think, we've got to do something different. We've got to do something different. And then you get 5 years
I
later
get that,
and
but
you've got a completely different...
It just feels like in the same way that it distorted the playing field in the first place and made it so it was like level again, it's just become fucked again. And it's just because the controls are the same every time. So there's that muscle memory of headshots. I can't compete with that.
Yeah.
I'm competing with people who...
It's like video
can just
games
go,
will sort it out. Titanfall will come along and it will readdress the balance, and then that will become the big game. Then 5 years that'll be shit, and another game will come, and then we'll be dead.
maybe.
for the first time ever.
That's a depressing thought,
I
isn't
like
it?
the way that I didn't even
Nice.
think that was depressing. I just went,
good point. Let's go.
Good point.
Wait a minute, that means we'll be dead in 10 years.
59 years.
Okay, that's right.
Camel.
For the first
Okay.
time ever, and maybe this has been a long time coming. I was playing it last night and I thought, you know what? I actually just, why have I bought this? I'd just rather play last year's game. And I know people say that every year, it's just copy paste, but it's not. There's always something about it where you go, that's cool. I like that new thing. This will keep me interested, to play through the campaign or do something. Yesterday I was just like, I'm done with it
You
now.
know what? There's a weird tipping point with this stuff because there are two sides to this argument. People always say that, it doesn't matter. People like familiarity. It's easy for us to slag it off for being boring, but actually a lot of people...
people love it.
Just
Lots
want the
of
same
people
thing.
love it. Fair play to
But
them.
there's a point at which, and I mentioned this, I think, on last week's podcast, so I won't go over it again, but there was the reason that Blockbuster failed was they thought, fuck it, people don't want choice. They want to be given one thing. And that is true. But there's always a tipping point where if you don't give people choice and you give people the same thing
People
over and over
start to
again,
notice,
then people suddenly go, they rebel against it. There comes a point where if you keep feeding people from the same spoon over and over again, people actually suddenly, en masse, go, no, I want choice.
You say that. I mean, there was a lot of talk yesterday because obviously the reviews for this one are a lot lower than previous years, and there's all people saying, well, finally reviewers have caught up to what we're thinking in the series fatigue, genre fatigue. And I don't know that it is. I mean, I would still be up for a really good Call of Duty game. It's just the fact is that this is weak. And it reminded me of Black Ops Declassified. It felt like that kind of spin-off that just shouldn't be there. It's just there because there needs to be a Call of Duty there. There needs to be a next-gen Call of Duty in time for launch. And it's disappointing. It's
all about next year.
Also, on that note about, you caught up to us and stuff, I just want to say this because we've got a lot of questions. You may even have one, so I apologize I'm jumping the gun. But we all need to start embracing opinions. If Call of Duty goes to get 2 out of 10 on one site and 10 out of 10 on another site, that is the best thing that can possibly happen.
That's true.
Otherwise, we may as well be drones that just review the same stuff. I love it when a game gets sort of, I can't think of the right word now, but the opinions are so far away from each other. Diverse opinions, because it just means people are approaching these things and have a completely different idea about how a game should work. And that is only going to inspire creativity and weirder and stranger games. Right. And that's what we want. It's good.
I think Jim Sterling hit the nail on the head yesterday.
I love Jim Sterling because he gives crazy scores.
I fucking love Jim Sterling these days. A few years ago, I found a lot of stuff he said quite problematic, and I thought he was a bit misguided. But I like the fact that recently he's openly admitted that, and now I think he's a fucking top dog.
I love it.
But he just simply tweeted the other day saying, a lot of people claim to have problems with the reviewing process when actually they just have a different opinion. And it's like, that's totally different. And people need to accept that.
They do. I love it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Debate should always be encouraged. That's the best thing ever as well. But it's people that go, no. This man obviously had, or this woman obviously had this opinion. Let's find out where that's... Because that's the thing. That's why Call of Duty gets scores all over the place, because some people are fatigued with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And some people are still getting a kick out of it.
And at the same time, I completely maintain my right to see that somebody's given a game that I think is shit a 9 out of 10 and say that they're mental.
Yes.
We're all allowed opinions.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're wrong. Just means I think they're fucking mental. Anyway, yeah, Call of Duty. So it's more the same, but not as good.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it in a nutshell. There's not really anything more you can say about it. The story's really weak from what I've seen.
We'll see. What I think will be interesting, though, is because it's become clear that the reviews scores don't have any impact on it. But I think next year will be interesting, because I think that, people aren't stupid. People know when things aren't as good. And admittedly, the low review scores, what I think they will have an impact on is I wonder if in a couple of months people go, this isn't very good this year.
It's still not low, though. I'm surprised it's got away with the scores it's got. If I was reviewing it based on what I've played right now, I would not be getting the scores anywhere near what it's been getting. Look at the Metacritic, it's like 75, which is low for Call of Duty, but it's not low. That's still a respectable score.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't know.
Tricky. I guess finally we'll go on to something which me and Brat have been playing a little bit of, more of, which I think is well on the way to being my game of the year, which is mental because it's a game that came out last year.
Yeah, and was my game of the year.
It was my game of the year last year, I think.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I was for about a minute there. I was like, "What the hell are they talking about?" I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, XCOM Enemy Within.
We're boring, aren't we?
Well, I don't know.
I love it, but I'm still in the camp. I loved Enemy Unknown. I'm in the camp of should I bother?
I can clear that camp out for you. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we can't.
Yeah, Dave.
We can't say massive amount because the review embargo's next, so we can't obviously tell you definitely. But for preview purposes, we've played a bit of it. Mm-hmm. We can't talk about there's some little things in it, right, which kind of make it nice.
It was a code.
That was some weird body language code thing. That was amazing.
It was me motioning to my nipples because there's something in the game which is not to do with nipples.
Okay.
Good Lord.
That was amazing to watch. So I enjoyed that.
Not going to bother now.
I was doing this to show that I agreed, which is like a roaring tiger.
It's like a roaring tiger, but a bit more camp.
It did look like Matt showed off his nipples and you reached for it. That's what it looked like.
Okay,
Keep talking about it.
There's not a new campaign or anything, though, is there?
No, there isn't. But that's good because the campaign originally didn't have much story anyway, right?
No. Yeah. Just a series of maps, essentially, wasn't it? With battles?
It's not a new story. You're still defending Earth from aliens, but the way the campaign plays is very different because of the little changes. And it's weird because with a lot of... It doesn't sound I remember when they first announced Enemy Within, we had these conversations.
I was worried about it.
And it's just like, well, I mean... They sound like, I think you described it as like it sounds like a bunch of fun toys to add to the game.
Yeah. It sounds like a Game of the Year edition to me. Just throw the DLC in a little bit on top, put it out as a new release, essentially.
That's what it looks like on the box, but it plays so very differently.
Yeah, right, and that's why I'm so confused about it.
Well, this is the thing, is we talked about this in some of the videos I've made, in the fact that you see it, and as you say, it looks like a toy box. It looks like classic DLC bullshit.
Like
and this is the
mechs
stuff I
and
hate.
psychic powers.
I hate it when it's like pre-order this game and get a special gun that's got flames on the side. It's just literally,
Yeah.
it's like it's designed to make 14-year-olds wank themselves silly.
You did that as well.
My penis hurts so bad.
I think we all did that when we were children. It's fine. Not children. Good Lord, carry on. Anyway, yeah, basically, it's really good because what I like most about it so far, and admittedly, I've played it for about 6 hours and I've had to restart the campaign 4 times, is I haven't even got to the point where I can start playing with the new stuff, right? So it's not like most DLCs where it goes, no, you've got the super amazing soldier, go and kick some alien ass. What it does is it layers over the whole game.
Yeah, but if I'd paid for both games, that would annoy me, I think, because I'd be like, well, I'm just replaying the game I've already bought.
No, but the thing is, what's interesting about this is it makes the game harder. A lot harder in lots of different ways. And I used to be able to play it on Iron Man Classic. Like, I say no problems. I had problems, but not too many
You were
problems.
confident with it.
I was more confident than I am now.
Okay.
I've been getting fucking dicked on, like so hard. I've been having massive wipeouts. And what I love about it is, what I loved about XCOM originally was these problems. And it was the fact that I'd have these missions where things would go so bad that I'd come out of it with a story. And I'd lose the game, but I'd have an amazing story. And it stopped being that. It became more about a numbers game. It became an efficiency thing of I knew what I had to do to win the game. And the tiny subtle details they've added in everywhere and the changes they've made everywhere make it so that way of playing the game in a kind of gaming the system way, which is the point at which I got bored of the game, is now gone.
It's interesting. I've discovered that as well, but from a different angle. I think one of the to invest in the mechs and the new psychic powers and everything, you have to get this resource called Meld, which appears on the map, and it's got a timer on it, so you need to get to it quickly, which changes how you approach it. And on one hand, I think you have been more ambitious for that. You've tried to get all the Meld as quickly as possible, and you've been...
Well, at least some of it. I've been trying to get all of it.
Well, I mean, you've been playing it more aggressively than you usually would. Whereas I think I'm starting to think about a restart just because I've been playing it like I usually played XCOM, and playing it very cautious and nice and steady, and I haven't been getting enough Meld as a result. And so I think I'm doing well at the moment, but I think I'm going to fail in the long term.
Yeah.
But we're doing it for different reasons. You've tried to go straight for the new Meld.
Well, that's the thing is basically, if you want these upgrades, then
bit.
you have to get Meld, which is like a part of the new economy. But it is simply just a case of like you have to find what these things are on the map and then get to them. And some of them you can see them at the start, but it's like you need to get here in the next 2 turns.
And you never know how long until you find them. You don't know how long is left on the timer.
And it's amazing because literally, otherwise, the whole problem with XCOM is there's no timer on the mission, so you just move forward very, very, very slowly. And if you're not sure, then you go, no, we'll just stop on Overwatch, reload that gun. It's
meticulous.
Yeah, meticulous and slow. Whereas this just goes, you've got to get here. And you look at it and you go, it's not that far, but it's further than I'm comfortable stretching. And then a lot of the time, sometimes you're fine. And you're like, whew, no aliens there. Sometimes you charge someone in and you set off some aliens. And you know how you trigger off the alien packs. Yeah. And I mean, I should point out at this point that this is not a Game of the Year edition for this reason. I think if you came into this having not played the original game, you'd really struggle and you find it confusing. And because it does change things and make things more complicated. It's very much a game that's been made, and it's like an expansion for people who've played the first game a lot. Even down to the new maps. The new maps, I was expecting just a bit more variety. The new maps are excellent.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. The in terms of like verticality,
they're complex.
It's a much different approach, and there's loads of maps with big open fronts on buildings and stuff, which is freaking me out.
You have like maps that are much more varied. So in the original game, like it was quite level and neat in terms of like giving you enough bits of strong cover and stuff so you could keep pushing forward in a traditional way. I had a few maps that had like really wide open areas where it's like, shit, like there's no way you can just have somebody run halfway and then go into cover and Overwatch. It's like at some point, if you want to get over there, somebody's going to have to make a mad dash. And the other level, I played a level which is like, it was a UFO crash site where it crashed into a skyscraper. And it was like, you could see at the edge of the map that it was like, you know, high up and you could see the city down below. But then also it was like the building was, you know, when you see a like half destroyed building and you've got like bits of staircases and bits of like floors that still remain and it's all, it was like being in a destroyed building. But it meant that you had like this crazy verticality that was quite hard to get my head around, but it was like amazing because it was like, oh, I can have a sniper up there. And also, you know, you get dicked on by the enemies by using this badly. It's a real challenge, and I love it just because XCOM wasn't a story-based game. It was a game about creating your own little stories in this world. And through some other little bits that we
didn't.
probably can't talk about, but they've added some stuff to add to that narrative
definitely.
for the soldiers, and it's really good. Like,
I think it's to be honest, I think you've got to have been thinking about replaying Enemy Unknown at some point to appreciate this. It's a game for people who want to replay Enemy Unknown but have enough new systems that it feels fresh. I think if you've finished Enemy Unknown, you're pretty much done with it. I'm not sure.
Well, it was weird for me because I loved Enemy Unknown, and I played through the campaign, and as soon as I finished it, I stopped playing it. I don't know why that was, because it was totally the sort of game that I thought, I'm going to get addicted to this for a very long time. And then as soon as that campaign ended, I had no desire to go back to it.
weird thing
It
is,
was
first time I
odd.
played it on normal, no Iron Man, and I completed it. And then I was in a similar position, and I thought, well, have a go at Classic Iron Man. And Classic Iron Man just grabbed me by the balls
same.
because it became a different game. It was like, it was no longer about just trying to get to the end of it. It was just trying to win. It was just trying to get past it. And I had to restart the game like 8 times.
I'd never played an XCOM game before, but I'd been told by other people that had played Enemy Unknown already that you have to play Classic Iron Man. So I started never playing an XCOM game before on Classic Iron Man. Restarted
lose
the game
again and again and
about,
again.
At least 20 times over the course of
And that
completing
doesn't
it.
sound fun.
And it
It's like
was the
Dark
best game I
Souls
played
thing,
last
right?
time.
It's a similar type of structure in a sense.
It's just, I don't know. There's something about it. The fact that, especially now that you can't avoid it. Like, it just means that I was playing it last night, and I just had a moment where it's just like, you just sit back. You just find yourself sitting back and staring at a screen that says 4 soldiers, KIA, KII, and it's like everybody died. Like, no one got out, and you just sit back in your chair and just go, I'm done. But then you go, maybe I'm not, and then you go, fuck,
Come on.
You carry on. You think, no. Everything's going well apart from that. Like, that was a bad mission. I've lost all my troops. But then you get 4 rookies, and another mission comes out, and you send these 4 rookies. And most of the time, that goes horribly. But then there's always this thread of hope that you have a period where you're like, oh my God, they're going to do it. These green soldiers with crap equipment are like, all they need to do is just get through this and survive. And then, like, sometimes it happens, sometimes it
the
doesn't.
naming thing. Bratters, do you name your soldiers? Are they like mummy Bratters and daddy Bratters?
Every single one.
He's got Big Brenda.
Horse
Big
Bratters.
Brenda.
I don't do it. I've got a system. They all get a name, right? But they don't get any customization.
Oh, dude, I go all the way, man.
I go all the way.
But the thing is, I only lost last night. I only lost 1 soldier.
Not
over
Brenda.
The course of about it wasn't Brenda.
My goodness,
it was
for that.
Spanish Keith.
Oh, not Spanish Keith.
He was my favorite guy.
Oh, I am indeed.
But yeah, I that's a big part of it for me. Just the idea that I know all those soldiers. I know exactly how they work and how they fit into the squad, and the fact that it feels like they're a real member of the team. So when you do lose them, and when you go and check the names on the memorial, it's actually
It's such a basic thing, but it has such a major
it really
effect
does.
on...
I honestly don't think I would enjoy XCOM anywhere near as much if I couldn't have that feeling. If I
Big
couldn't
red.
Some of the
customize.
variable stuff
Which is stupid.
like,
So dumb.
because you got the second wave thing for like options for replaying.
What do you mean?
Well, they added it as free update DLC, which basically means that if you're playing the game again, you can choose some options to make it more interesting.
Oh, right.
Like, you can have stuff like randomized stats for the.
Oh, right, okay.
So you can have so that the soldiers vary massively in skill and they change more when they level up. One of the things you can do.
I was just going to say, the randomized stats to people who don't play XCOM sound so fucking dull, and yet that makes an even more personal character
yeah.
because each character is has a different effect.
And I had a point the other day where literally I'd lost all, because I cherry picked all the best soldiers for my squad, and then they all got killed. And then I had a mission where it's like, it was just the dregs. It was like all the guys who'd been put to the bottom of the roster because they were like really rubbish, and it was just like, oh God, I'm sending in like the worst soldiers in the world. Like, they couldn't aim guns. They were really bad.
It's like Football Manager, but for aliens and super
is.
soldiers and
Yeah.
shit.
But
One of
this just gives you an idea of like, because as I say, there's some little things we probably can't talk about that make the customization a bit more interesting and a bit more like meaningful. Also, the fact that one of the second wave options you can have now is mental. You can randomize the skills of the soldiers, so you don't just get sniper. It means every time you level them up, they get a choice of 2 random skills.
Right.
So it means you can have like a heavy guy who can carry
Can you
loads of
combine them,
medkits.
can you? Oh, I see.
So
yeah.
it's random, like, so I mean, it's random.
It's
to a
not just
degree.
that it drops the previous skill and then...
No. It's like
okay.
instead of having the standard sniper skill tree,
Yeah.
everyone apart from the first level skill are always the same. So we always have the basic thing of rockets or headshots. But after that, it's random, which means you can like get some guys that get rubbish stuff, but you can like roll some amazing soldiers. You can have some stuff like, I had one which was like a support. No, it wasn't. It was an assault who got the ability to run forward 3 more squares. Which is,
God, yeah, sprinter.
which is a support
Yeah,
skill, and it's like, whoa, this guy can charge him with a shotgun. And
I'm
yeah.
a bit concerned about turning that one on just because it changes how I'd approach the game so much. But that would create characters. It would be like having D&D characters, just real personal characters that no one else will necessarily ever have.
And then you go into the Gmod stuff where you can the Gmod stuff I've only played around really briefly, but again it's this thing of like you spend the meld and the money and you actually have to put them in like a jar for like amount of time, like to let the stuff seep in. So if you want to make a super soldier, you can take your best dude and be like, this guy's badass, and you can be like augment his legs so he can jump up buildings, and augment his eyes so he can like aim better from heights, and you make yourself stealth. You can give yourself skin that will like stealth you behind cover and stuff. But it seems like all the upgrades take time.
Put your pants back on, bro.
If you want to make this super soldier, then you can put him in a tank, but you have to leave him in like medical goop for like maybe a couple of weeks, and then he'll come out and he'll be this like super badass.
This is like,
and if you spend all that money and all that meld on him, and then he dies, then he's all
you're
gone.
fucked.
So
you can either choose to like give everyone upgrades a little bit, or you can make a super soldier.
people may as well be talking Russian. I have no idea what's
You've got to play this game. The thing is,
sounds like I do.
It's the sort of thing you'd think that I would absolutely hate, and it was one of my game of the year last year. It was amazing.
This is it. And actually, I think I say this a lot on Twitter, and Dan Marshall says this a lot on Twitter as well, of just being like, you know, even if it's the sort of game that you look at and go, nah, not for me, you've got to play it.
That's what I did. And then it came out and I played it thinking I'm not going to enjoy it.
And actually, what I'd say about this is when I'm playing it on the PC at the moment, what it does is it means that when you load the game up, it doesn't just completely override it. It means when you load the game up, it says, do you want to play XCOM or do you want to play Enemy Within? Does it do it on the Xbox version as well?
No, it is the XCOM Enemy Within disc. You can, when you start the game, you can choose how much of the original game you want in it. So if you want the original tutorial, which extra kind of missions you want to be included. So you can personalize it that way, but it's not.
Seems like it's less of a good deal than if you haven't got it on PC. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't played the original, you should be able to pick that up quite cheap anyway now. I'd recommend.
Oh, yeah, it's got like, $5 in some places.
Yeah, I'd recommend playing it. And if you do like it, then the expansion is
I'll
really
play it.
good.
I'll put it on my list.
It's
one day.
It's horrible. Like, even those fucking squid things that strangle your men. It knows how you play, basically. What they've done, and this is why I love it, is they've looked at how people have played this game on a wide scale, and they've gone, well, let's just stop them from doing that. So they it stops you from being super cautious and sticking together and taking your time, because then you don't get any meld, which means you can't use any toys, which means when you come up against the alien bastards with their stuff, you're fucked. And then it stops you from doing the classic thing of having a sniper on their own at the back.
Squad sight at the back.
Because you've got a sniper, like with squad sight, just standing on a building miles away, and then you bump into some of these squid things. As soon as you see them, they cloak. You don't get a chance to shoot them before. They cloak, and then you don't know where they are. And the only time you know where they are is when they attack you. And it means that if you've got a sniper on their own, you've got to basically get that sniper to the rest of your team. Because if one of these alien things finds him, they basically don't kill them immediately. They strangle them. Which means literally it's just they start strangling them, and then you've got to shoot it off.
If you've got someone next to that person, it's fine. You can shoot it and you're okay. But if he's on his own, you just get screwed over.
You just watch them slowly get strangled to death as your favourite soldier gets fucking strangled.
It's far more difficult, though.
It is difficult. Yeah. But the new stuff they've added makes it, like, even actually in the early levels, like when you kill one of these little squid things and you do an autopsy, you get the ability to make stealth grenades. So it's like, it's harder, but there are more things you can do to counter it. So
I think Simon walked in as I first uncovered those enemies, never seen them before. I'd heard you say they were pretty terrifying.
I hate them.
And so I just freaked out. And it was such an honest reaction of how those soldiers would react. They just threw everything explosive that they had. I had 5 guys on the field. Everything explosive went into that building where I thought they might be. Rocket launchers, grenades. I just completely freaked out.
But it's everything. It's the way they've remodeled the AI so they move around the map differently and the aliens are positioned differently. It basically means that I got bored of XCOM because it became familiar. I knew how it was going to play. I always had a gut feeling of where the aliens would be on the map, and I'd be like, there'll be aliens here, and there were. This time, it's just everything's slightly changed. It's the same game, but it's all tilted enough that it feels unfamiliar again. And that's what I love about it. It's when I first started playing XCOM, I got really intense, really scared and really worried and was genuinely terrified that people were going to die. And then that went because I understood the game. And now it's just rekindled all of that, and I'm having a horrible time all over again. I fucking love it. Anyway, sorry, that's a massive rant about XCOM, but...
I've got one question to ask before we go into proper questions. It's just something you said. It triggers something in my brain because I've just decided what my game of the year is. Don't say what it is because we'll get to that in a few weeks.
Dance?
Well, no. Do you know what your game of the year is now? Just yes or no. I'll look at you first, David Scammell.
I think I might know. Braz?
Yep.
Matt Lees?
I think so.
Okay, I'm just intrigued because
Yeah.
my moment
In
came.
fact,
Well, what else is
Some
there
point this
still?
year.
What else is there still to come out that may impact
Walking
things?
Dead
Nothing.
season
I just
2.
want to know people.
Next gen stuff. Dead
I don't
Rising.
think season
Forza,
2 will
none
be
of
out in time.
Look, Dead Rising 3 may
yeah,
be
no,
incredible.
I think
Who
it
that.
knows?
Could be. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be, but maybe. I'm just intrigued. I want to see. You said
Well,
it, and
yeah,
I thought I
to be
wonder
honest,
if people have made up their minds.
We're about to go on to the question. That was one of the questions. I guess
Oh, right,
how
there
will
you go.
how will we be covering that kind of stuff? Are we going to
Game of the year.
do some
I don't know how we're going to do it.
We'll probably do some stuff.
video
Well, we'll do
stuff, or-
something. I think in the past there's been actually like a proper.
We've always, in the past, everyone on the team votes for their top 10, and that top 10 list is aggregated into a single top 10 list based on where we've positioned our games and stuff.
We'll do something like
lists.
that.
But I
something like
don't know. I don't know how. Because sometimes you get things that people have not played that should be on the list.
I kinda
But because more people have played an average game, they end up in the top 10 overall. Do you know what I
That'll
mean?
be- that'll be something.
Yeah,
would
we'll
be-
work something out.
It would be nice to have a video of people just getting excited about a game.
Yeah, even if it's just personal top 10s for people. We'll work something
We'll do
out.
definitely a personal one, but there'll probably be
Yeah.
an overriding video game.
Cool.
But there was just an off the cuff. I was just intrigued because I know what mine is now. So
I mean, the year's very almost up, but we'll cry a bit of thought just because.
always, you
Yeah.
forget things. People forget.
I think, but
It's a
yeah,
few months.
as I say, this has just solidified the fact that a lot of people, I think, last year, including when I was on a mag, we had to do our top 10 games of the year, and I said XCOM's got to be pretty high up the top, and a lot of people who hadn't played it went, "What?
Yeah.
It's a turn-based strategy game
Yeah.
on Xbox?
Yeah.
Are you mental?"
Fuck you.
And honestly, even if you were like listening to that, going, "What the fuck are they on about?" If you love games,
Hello.
If you love games, if you love games, you've got to give XCOM a try. It is
I will try.
sublime. It is the best, one of the best things in years. Anyway,
All right,
questions.
Should we move on to some community
Actually,
questions?
have we got any?
No, it's boring this week. It's all resolution, and it's all it is.
Boring.
Xbox isn't as powerful as PS4. Newsflash.
You heard it
See
here
later.
this week. This week's news is boring.
The news is boring.
Check VideoGamer.com for more.
Oh, there's one thing we should say. If your Batman keeps crashing, apparently a patch came out today. So download
Oh, does
that
it really?
patch.
Actually,
there you go.
yeah, GT Online, the promised stimulus.
Oh, yeah, the stimulus
is that-
money's
is
out
that
today as well, apparently, as well. These are all rumours
We've
and
been promised
speculation.
this for a
but-
long time.
That's it.
Simon.
I love the way that the GTA Online patch keeps promising that it's going to give us all loads of money and then saying, "Oh, well, not today,
Just wait
it'll
a
be
bit."
soon."
You
It's
know-
like, is it parodying the campaign?
Well, no, well, yeah, exactly. I think they're just terrified. They don't want to screw anybody else over, do they? So they don't want to release something then break somebody's game. So I think they're slowly.
They
just
did get
testing
away
things
with
in.
a lot, to be fair.
Well,
like, considering, like,
They made a fantastic
didn't
single
work.
player, so I think that it put them in a lot of, there's a lot of good grace
Yeah,
for
a
a
lot of
while.
bit of
companies,
credit.
if they'd done that, though, would have been like,
Imagine if that was EA.
Imagine if it was Imagine if it was Blizzard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but this is,
Hell.
that's Rockstar they can
Behave
do
like
that.
rockstars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can do that.
Anyway, questions.
Questions. This comes from the mystical end of the forums. We've got PB Live who asks, if dogs in space are the novelty of this year's Call of Duty, what will next year's...
There aren't any dogs in
be?
space.
What?
Yeah, that's the whole point of the thing. There's no dogs in space.
The dog doesn't go to space, but
No.
it does drive a car.
It does drive a tank.
Yeah, I suppose I'll have to do.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I'll take that. I'll take that. Driving.
What will be the theme of next year's?
Yeah. Cats underwater.
It'd be Modern Warfare 4.
Not like
I'm putting
drowning.
my money in Modern
like they've
Warfare
got
4.
scuba hats.
Explosive beavers that knock down dams in a
That will
dramatic
not-
twist of irony.
That will not
Is
be
that
a thing.
ironic? Do beavers make dams?
Not-
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, yeah. That's good, I like that. You should be a writer
Really?
for the Call of Duty series.
Yeah.
It would be better than
Call
it
of
is
Duty
now.
beavers.
Somebody on Twitter pointed out the other day that one of the bits of dialogue in the first half an hour of it, I can't remember who it was who said this, but they said, within the first half an hour, somebody says, "We're surrounded from all angles."
Brilliant.
Like, you don't need to, yeah. I mean, just...
Dad, you were one of the ghosts all along. He was the ghost. He was the ghost, yeah.
Oh, goodness
That's
gracious.
what it does. That was like Hulk Hogan in Call of Duty Ghost.
I don't.
Amazing.
I don't know what that was. Next question, please.
JD Slough on Twitter, or Slough maybe, asks, do you think it's worth getting the PlayStation camera? Not something we've heard
No.
a great
PlayStation
deal
4
about.
camera.
Probably not,
No,
to
we
be
don't. We
honest.
haven't really seen. So
The Eye of Judgment never took off.
I mean, the only thing they've really been showing with
It's
that is the
Playroom.
little, playroom,
Playroom.
which is kind of...
as those little despicable meme minions.
Yes,
in
that's
it,
exactly what I was
essentially.
going to describe them as.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
kick 'em
haven't seen
about
it.
and stuff.
I don't think it's not,
I
it's not
think
for me.
no. I mean,
No.
to be honest, not wanting to sound like a complete bitch, but the fact that I saw, I think on IGN last week, they posted up an unboxing video for the PlayStation 4 camera, just smelt to me of someone at Sony going, "Please, just please do something about this."
Yeah, no
because
one cares about Move.
I didn't
No one
even really
cares
know
about
it was a
the
thing.
camera. Yeah.
I think it just seems like nobody gives a fuck about it, so wouldn't bother.
I
for
don't
now.
care.
On the other hand, I guess Cam Sage on the forums asks, with Kinect being a staple on the Xbox
Love
One,
Connect.
do you think
Fantastic piece of kit.
do you think
It is the best experience in gaming.
Exactly, nothing better. Go on,
That was
what's the
a cackle.
question?
Yes,
Ooh, what a bit of gear.
do you think even indie developers will start
No.
to use it with it being?
Maybe. I mean, a lot
think-
of
I
people
think they
mucked
will.
around with the old one. Can they do it on? Oh, what's that thing called? You'll know, Scam. Well, you're good at this. The dev program on Xbox One.
XNA.
ID.
No,
Oh,
so
no,
the
Xbox
new
360,
one. The new
isn't it?
one.
What?
The new Xbox One developer program. Where
I
everyone
thought it's
can
called
be,
ID at Xbox or something.
maybe, but can you use Connect with that? If you can use Connect
I
with that,
assume
then
so.
maybe that'd be cool.
I'll
I'd
tell you
like
what,
to-
actually, the only thing that's got me excited about Kinect was Oculus Rift. I had to go on Oculus Rift on Sunday night, and it doesn't work very well for the games where you're walking around because the sensation of moving, well, it's not so much a sensation, it's more like you've got the organic thing of looking, and that
Yeah.
feels really natural, but then still having to use the keyboard or a controller to move. It's weirdly jarring, but in games where you're sitting in one position, like in a spaceship,
Tiny Man Space Sims.
it's amazing.
Get the
And what I
Oculus
was
Rift up in
thinking
there.
is, imagine if you had Oculus Rift Space Sim, but instead of sitting at a keyboard,
You got Connect.
you've got
yeah,
Connect.
it'd be amazing.
And literally, you've got like a Minority Report style thing. So it's not even like, you get the sense that you're not even touching anything anyway because you're touching holograms. But having a thing in front of you and be able to like kind of manipulate stuff in the air as if you're in a spaceship, that to
That'd
me
be amazing.
would be the most immersive game I can imagine.
People will poo-poo this, but bring the poo. Connect Sports Rivals is
poo.
really good.
Oh,
It's
no,
a
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really good game. I've played it twice now.
Rare are fucking good at those games.
And this time they have a Connect thing that works. So they made it even
Which
better.
helps, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, honestly, Connect Sports Rivals will surprise a lot of people. It's a very, very good minigame collection.
Does
and
it still
works really
have
well.
football?
I've only played...
Football was the best one about
I heard that
I've
was
played
awesome, yeah.
wave racing and mountain climbing, but both are excellent. I enjoyed both. I thought they were both fantastically well done.
I do think we'll see more independent developers on it, just because they can get away with approaching more of like a mini game idea, smaller scale.
I think
and-
at the moment there's very little interest in the platform by indies. So I think the idea of people really diving into Connect.
I hope they do. I'd like to see what they could.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know
but
if
we're
they will
talking
or
about
not.
3 or 4 years. At the moment, like Microsoft have so much reparations to do with the indie community. And what the indie community is becoming vaguer and
Yeah.
vaguer. This is a bigger question for a bigger time. But to begin with, I'd say no.
Imagine Mount Your Friends, but like with Connect.
Actually,
Well,
have
no,
to
but then
mount
you
each
don't need to
other
do that. You just oil up and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like Twister, but not.
naked and fun.
Yeah.
It's like I had to review
This is
a bloody horse racing game which had Connect support, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was like Champion Jockey or something. And it was like, you can play with Connect. And I was doing it, and it's literally
Oh,
like,
God, yeah.
I am literally just
Oh.
pretending to ride
We
a
had that on
horse
the,
in front of a television. It's like, I don't need to do this. I could just save myself 40 quid and pretend to ride a horse for free.
They had that on the Olympics game, and because
so
I'm
bad.
glad you threw game in there.
Yeah, you have to be
'Cause I was
swimming.
going to say I don't exist.
because my sister's into the whole horsing thing.
Oh, my friend.
My entire family
My
on Christmas
friend.
Day stood around doing this. Like, wait,
But did they have a good time?
No, it was rubbish.
Did they have a good? I'm not asking you. Did they have a
No.
good time?
No,
Did
that-
they turn around and say, "Bratters, we have not had a good time," and they stormed
They
off?
said, "Can we play that water raft game instead?"
Okay, fair
That's the
enough
thing.
then.
It doesn't work. Like pretending to ride a horse, you are very much aware that you're not on a horse.
I don't want anything to do with horses. I'm happy to have no relationships with the horse.
Whoa.
That's right.
Okay,
Apart
good.
from Epona in Ocarina of Time, she can do what she wants.
I know
Oh,
a
and-
story.
There's a
about
horse in
horse.
Ocarina of Time. Oh,
What's the Shadow
spoiler.
Colossus
I
horse?
did not
Spoiler.
use the H word earlier because I didn't want to spoil that.
He knows about the horse. He told me about it the other day.
And there is, I suppose it's in the intro, isn't it?
Yeah, what's the Shadow of the
Oh,
Colossus
yeah.
horse? Does it have a name? I can't remember. That horse is all right. That can hang
Yeah,
around.
no, it's just horse.
It's horse, isn't it?
That's and the beautiful thing about that horse is you realise it's your only friend. But when you realise that it's your only friend,
Too late. Spoilers.
sorry, I need to go and cry.
I guess this is a question for Mr. Simon Miller from what was that?
A stretching.
Oh, right, okay. Better have been. This
It
is
was.
from Mr. Dave Harris, who asks, is there a better feeling than the Nintendo Christmas feeling? Will I get it again if I open the new Zelda game?
100%. I mean,
This year.
he's 100% correct. There is nothing better than Nintendo Christmas. A lot of that is nostalgia.
The best feeling.
Did you just family fortunes me? How dare you?
The top answer is Rayman, bitch.
Oh, on that
Bring
note,
it.
Nintendo are aware of Rayman. I'll say that in regards to Mario.
Interesting.
They've seen it.
Good.
I think, yeah, but it's nostalgia most than anything. A, it is the best for me. B, he'll 100% get it. Zelda is going to blow his Nintendo magic mind.
Also,
That's right.
That's a wicked sentence.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Put that on the
nuts.
box. It will blow your
Drowning in
Nintendo
fun.
magic
No, it
mind
would have to be like blow your Nintendo Magic Mind to pieces
to death.
until you were just giblets on a wet floor.
But yeah,
that's a Simon
he's
quote,
got,
isn't it?
Yeah, play at Christmas when you got your time off that you feel like you shouldn't have. You feel amazing.
I can't wait for that.
and I guess we'll go with a final question from Bigotator.
Who?
Bigot.
Bigotator.
Because
It's spelled BGETGTHTEH.
Okay, that's all right.
You try
brilliant.
and say that, sir.
It's a silent B.
This is the ancient witch doctor, Dave Scammell.
Who asks a simple but often divisive question. Which version of Aladdin was better?
Oh,
SNES or
no.
Mega Drive?
We did this in the office the other day. We're not doing it again. It got genuinely heated at one point. It was ridiculous.
I refused to have that conversation.
Well, you go on.
I know. It seemed like I was starting it off again when I came in and realised. I came into the room, right, and I realised that Brett,
Not Brat.
not Brett of
you.
Sportra,
Sportra.com.
a sports specialist thing, good, watch it, do it. He was saying that the best version of Aladdin, right, was the version on the SNES. And,
no, it's happening.
And the
Which
thing was,
Dr. Scammell
I came in and
disagrees.
Simon said, "No, Matt, don't say anything. We're not having this
It's because
argument."
Burns and him were properly going at
And
it.
I said, "No, we're not having this argument
'Cause it's
there
already
is
done.
no argument. Like this argument has been done so many times, and the only reaction is when people who had it on the SNES see what it was like on the Mega Drive, they go." Oh, what the fuck? Because they realise they got cheap dealed.
So
big
I
time.
only ever played the SNES version.
It was
So-
rubbish.
Wasn't it
Maybe it wasn't,
Capcom that
uh,
did a SNES version?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And the Mega Drive
Yeah,
version was
Mikami did it,
mint.
didn't he? He did the SNES version.
Did he?
think so.
I sure I'm glad we didn't have that argument.
It's not an argument. There is no argument to have.
That's
Anybody
fine.
who
as
thinks
long as we don't
otherwise-
have the argument, I don't care
wrong.
what. And we can't argue about something
Listen.
from 1993. We just can't.
we certainly can. We certainly can.
We argued
Where are we gonna
about
end up?
Zelda versus Final Fantasy last
That's older
night.
than him. 1993.
That's not older than me, Dave. I was born in 1990,
No,
and you
I-
know
I-
this.
I made up 1993. It may not be 90. Because someone goes, he's 100% incorrect. It was not 1993. I don't know. It's
I expect
around
somebody
that
that to be the top comment on YouTube.
Yeah.
Somehow with that
It'll have
phonetics.
written
That's a
by-
challenge to you. How do you write that in phonetic? Oh, I don't even know how that was said. Anyway, quickly, we will just wrap it up with an update on the competition situation.
Actually, yeah, I've got winners to announce.
Situation. There was a competition. Mm-hmm. Slightly longer.
Have I
podcast
won,
than usual.
Bratters?
Absolutely not.
Dave, we told you
The
repeatedly.
Pokemon Go was.
Because no one bothered to
Oh,
make the Pokemon Go. I was very upset, so I had to do
You
it
get a
myself.
special mention
Yeah,
from
you get a special
yourself.
mention, yeah.
Did
Why?
You gave yourself the
It
special
was
mention.
rubbish. Oh God! Do you see the? Oh God!
No, I
that's
like the
so-
Pokemon Go.
What
It's
was
quite good.
rubbish?
I liked
Yeah.
it, but we did repeatedly explain to you that you couldn't win the competition.
You're an employee of VideoGamer.com, therefore you can't do it.
If I quit, do I win?
Yes. But
Oh, a
now this
dilemma
throws
is presented.
I know you won't win, but you could win. But I
You
don't
could
know.
quit your
that's a-
job for maybe winning a
Well, there's no
£40
point
game.
quitting then, is there? I'll take it back. I don't
Yeah,
resign.
Don't do it.
Good.
I don't resign.
Yeah, so the winner of the podcast competition for best devolved Pokemon was Pokemon.
That'll do.
Fine.
Pokemon Go.
Was Weasel Pants with the Timberix, which
Well
I
done,
think that
Weasel
was
Pants.
yeah, great. I mean, actually, I was really impressed by that because it was quite a nice drawing. It was quite a cool idea as well.
yeah, and I just liked that it was a well drawn Pokemon, but it was a shit Pokemon.
Yeah, it was
like
shit,
a Timberix wouldn't last long in that world. It would meet a Charmander and everything would go tits up. But that's exactly
And also,
what
it
we
just
wanted.
sort of didn't make sense.
Yeah.
In like, I liked it. It was daft.
It point out it would meet a Charmander and it would all go tits up.
Yes.
I'm gonna go on record and say you're probably the first person to ever say that sentence.
I don't know, man. There's a hell of a lot of Pokemon. I just actually played a bit of Pokemon last night before I went to bed, and I got to the grass gym. One of the things I love about Pokemon is this thing of like, oh, you will never beat my amazing grass type Pokemon. It's like, bitch, I've got
Then-
Charizard.
then they make Charizard.
You're all dead.
And it all-
Every now and then you come across a gym in Pokemon where it's just like you can do nothing. Like you are so fucked.
Seriously, how have you kept this gym going all this time?
It's mental.
Seriously.
But anyway, yeah, congratulations. We had so many wicked entries for
Yeah,
that.
and we did a little gallery video of some of our favourites.
I like where somebody, after we did the gallery video, said, you should make this a regular thing. It's like, we do it most months, and we've been doing it most months.
I preferred that someone
For a while.
said the devolved form of Pikachu is actually Pichu.
You've got it wrong.
Get your facts right or
I
something
like somebody
along
that was
those
factually incorrect.
Yeah.
People who comment on our YouTube videos saying that they're factually incorrect in my favourite thing because
Same.
it's evidently 90% fucking nonsense.
The best one was on our Bonnie Tyler review, one of them, when someone said, what can I possibly learn about the game from this review? I think you missed the point.
I think you've learned something about yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not a good thing.
And we've also got the Member of the Month on the forums itself, which you can win by being
You just got to be nice on the forums, really.
I've been nice.
Dave,
Yeah, Dave, you
you're
can't
not
win.
winning any prizes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Dave.
If you're lucky, I'll buy you a Kinder Egg. I'm
so pissed off.
That's a great prize.
That's not too bad, is it?
I'm such a Jesus. I'm totally
Yeah.
I
a Jesus.
disagree with this policy. I'm going to call you a nasty word.
Well, that's something
Then
for another time.
You won't win Member of
You've
the
just
Month.
been-
Might do.
You've just been
Don't think you will.
you've just been offered a Kinder Egg and responded like that. That is terrible. Dave.
Who won?
You've got problems.
The Member of the Month this month was Carlius.
Well done,
Carlius.
Carlius.
Yeah.
Well done.
Good job, Carlius.
And perhaps we always say this, perhaps the easiest way to win a video game is to be one of the people that votes. in that
All you have
Member
to
of the
do,
Month.
right, is
Get
And who's
involved,
won that?
basically.
That was Essex 1212.
Essex 1212. Amazing work. Yeah, we should point out that we do this every month on the podcast. There are 3 ways to win a game of your choice, up to £40 value.
Shop to
50, isn't it?
Shop.
I think it's up to 50. I think it is.
Now you can have whatever you want, darling.
Could be wrong.
Get yourself a new console.
Up to 100, 200 pounds. 50
$5
pounds.
million. No, yeah. Thanks to shop2.net, we do a thing, basically 3 games. You can choose what you want. And the first one to win is a bit tricky. You've got to be part of the competition, which you do something.
But that's a rather
it's
fun way
also
of winning.
fun. Like,
Yeah.
oh god, the entries are amazing.
Yeah,
I just
and
love.
we get a good laugh out of them, if nothing else.
we
in a
have
good way,
so much
in
fun
a
with it.
positive way.
And then the second way to win is being voted for being good on the forums, and that's part of the comment system as well on the website. So if you just comment on things, and people like you, then you might win one. But also, if you remember to vote once a month, and again, there's reminders on the forums about this. All you've got to do is basically send a direct message
Take
to
you
Brad.
about 5 seconds, and you could win a game.
Win a game
from
for
shop
literally
to
doing
.net.
nothing. It's almost so unfair that I think we should scrap it. But no,
we do discuss
won't.
every now and then, but we decide, you know what? No, let's keep it going.
It's the
For good
lottery
of
video
of
games.
life.
Exactly.
Anyway, we're kicking off the next month's competition.
Yeah, so this is the podcast competition.
Are we going to announce it next week?
It's up to you, I guess so.
Tease. Tease.
Yeah, let's announce it next week.
Okay.
We've done the winners.
Drop a clue. Can you drop a clue?
a clue. Yeah.
Well, what's happening this month that might be exciting? There's a clue.
Well, that's good.
There's
Good
a
clue. All right, nice.
I've got to do my
Yeah.
Christmas list.
Yeah, well, we're getting on a bit, so we'll announce the
That's
podcast
not the competition. Can I just point out
What is
Dave's Christmas list
Yeah, that is
isn't the competition.
What does Dave want for Christmas?
Cheese strings.
Yeah, strings and shit games. And I'll give you a clue. The next week's podcast competition is nothing to do with Dave. So there we are.
Okay, good.
That's sorry, Dave.
That's all right. I don't mind.
Well, it doesn't always
feel a
revolve
bit-
around you.
Yeah, no, I feel a bit like egotistical.
Yeah.
Well,
you are a bit, but aren't we all? Anyway,
You have to be.
new
Otherwise
competition
we'll be dead.
next week.
What?
Video games.
Dunno.
Good Lord. Goodbye.
Tomorrow.
Bye.